Welcome back. Well, we were going to have Geraldo on the show.
Right.
And then Geraldo was walking down the hallway.
You set him loose in a building, and there's no telling who he will run into. And this morning, look who he ran into.
Come on, let's go.
Welcome to the show.
Come on
The leading candidate, the probable, the inevitable Republican nominee.
Hi.
Oh, yeah.
Take a seat.
Not me.
Thanks for sticking around. You just wrapped up
Wow.
the
I'm sitting next to Anna.
Good.
But who wouldn't?
Just finished.
But who wouldn't? I totally agree. So you've got news. We're just talking to you. We put up a bunch of polls from Indiana. You say there's a new one that suggests you're doing well.
Well, I guess there are a couple that have me up quite a bit. But, you know, I'm going there right now. I'm leaving for Indiana right now. And I think we're doing really well. Yeah, I think it looks like good. Did you have polls that say otherwise?
Well, there's back and forth polls. There's some that have, you know, Ted Cruz up by 9. There's some that have you up by 15. It seems to be, as Tony Katz earlier on the show this morning was saying, it seems to be a jump ball situation right now in
well,
Indiana.
it could very well be. I mean, I think we're doing really well. I mean, in New York, I was supposed to win by 50%, and I ended up getting 62. And then we won Pennsylvania, Maryland. We won everything. I mean, everything on the East Coast. We won a lot. And now we're over 1,000 delegates. We're 1,004. That's a lot. And we're going to go for the final push. And
The Bobby Knight thing was really big. I thought that totally neutralized the Governor Pence quasi-endorsement of Ted Cruz, which would have had a lot of impact otherwise.
And the governor's a nice guy, but a lot of pressure was put on him by his donors. And, you know, he had to do it. But he was nicer to me. I mean, everyone thought he gave me the endorsement because he started off Donald Trump. I really want to thank him, and he's been good. And then he finished with me.
Right.
And somewhere in between, he said he'll vote for Cruz. But you could see that was not a real loving endorsement.
So I want to ask you about Arizona. Yesterday, Saturday, there was a Republican convention there. You won that state by a landslide in the high 40s. And yet it looks like Senator Cruz wound up with more delegates than you.
Yeah, I'll explain.
The suggestion is that you're going to file a lawsuit, are you?
No, I don't know. It doesn't matter because I'm going to win on the first ballot. And we're already over 1,000. I think we're 1,004. And I need, you know, not too many now to get. And we have a lot of them coming in. Indiana, I think, is going to be big. I hope to win Indiana. I'm going there now. I'm going to make like 5 or 6 speeches in the next 2 days, and we get tremendous crowds. I think we'll do great in Indiana. And Cruz, look, everybody dislikes him. He doesn't have a senator that likes him. If you look, his all-time favorite senator is Jeff Sessions, right, from Alabama, who's an amazing guy. He's supporting me. He just came out. He endorsed me. Cruz, there's something going on with him. I mean, there's something
what are you going to do if you're 20 short and they try to screw you?
Well, look, I have 4 million votes more. Nobody ever talks about that. In fact, you're saying, I just saw on your show, that I have a record. I'm over 10 million votes. By next week, it'll be the biggest in the history of Republican primaries. And I'll end up, after California, having maybe 5 million more than anybody's ever had. Nobody's ever had these numbers before. And I'm up by 400 delegates or more than that. And wouldn't it be ridiculous if you don't get it in the first ballot and then a guy that had 5 million votes less? Because by the time it ends, it'll be 5 or 6 million votes less.
Mr. Trump, there's a report in the Hill this morning that that if it does go to a contested convention, that you guys, your campaign, doesn't really have a blueprint on how to handle that. Also, not for picking a vice president or for funding a general election campaign. How do you respond
Well, vice
to that?
president, I don't want to think about it. I mean, a lot of people want to be vice president.
I thought you told me.
Yes, you do. Other than Geraldo.
You right?
Other than Geraldo. Geraldo would be great. I get that Spanish vote in about 2 seconds.
I got to talk to you about
Wouldn't that be good? But we have tremendous, you know, everything's just going, and we're not really playing for the second. You understand. Whenever you read that stuff, they try and make it a big deal. We're not playing for it. We have a lot on the second, but we don't want the second. We want to win it in the first ballot, and I think we probably will.
Do you buy Senator Cruz's argument? Perhaps he seemed to be alluding to it that on Tuesday would be the line in the sand. Indiana, for him, it's all in. You've got to win that.
He's got to win.
He's going to be out if you.
He's out. He's out now. He has no path to victory. If he won Indiana, he can't win, because what does he need? 120% or something like that. You can't get 120%. No, the only way he can win is if I don't get the required number, and then he goes and he gets, because he, you know, I guess you could use the word bribe, or maybe I'll use a little lesser word, but he takes everybody out to dinner. They have people, they take them to hotel rooms and dinners. Basically, you're trying to buy the election. But put yourself in the RNC position where Trump has, by that time, 5 or 6 million more votes. Trump would have 500 to 600 more delegates. And now we're going to lift up the hand of a guy who, you know, bought some lunches for people on the second ballot. When you hear this, Tucker, you know that they're only talking about second, third, fourth ballot. We're not really playing that because we're not going to get there. We're going to get there. In fact, there's a scenario under which I reach 1,400. pretty easily. So for him, it's imperative to win. But even if he wins, he can't win. In my opinion, he can't win. And if I win, it's over. Indiana. And I love the people of Indiana. And I think Tucker's been very nice to me. I have to tell him, because I always deal with him by telephone.
Hey,
no, he's been very nice.
I'm a
He's
fair
been very
nice.
and you know what? He's been very professional.
But, you know,
which is hard to believe.
With the friends, you see Corey Landowski, your campaign manager over there. You could have dumped him like a hot potato after the allegation that he pushed that lady reporter, and you stuck by him. Why did you stick by him? You could have dumped him. And
I was ready to fire Corey. I didn't want to fire Corey. He's a good man, but a great family, great wife, kids. I was ready to fire Corey when I heard about it. But I'm a rich guy that has cameras in ceilings. It was in my club, and I have security cameras. And I saw the camera. Now, her police report said thrown to the ground. And, you know, I said, man, what happened? Why did you do such a thing? But I was in the group, and I said, wait a minute, that was the one that was grabbing me. Maybe I should file a report. She was grabbing me like that. You know, that's when I was looking down and pulling up. She was terrible, I think. She filed a report that she was essentially almost thrown to the ground and then thrown to the ground. So when I got the camera, I looked, I said, wait a minute, he didn't do anything wrong. And once the police saw the camera, and everybody saw the camera, and I stuck with him. Now, Cruz said he should be fired immediately. I said, how do you fire a person before you knew what happened? But I will tell you, I was going to fire him based on the reports. Fortunately, we had a camera. That was a great camera in the scene. In fact, I said to my guys, don't we have good camera system here? They said, the best, Mr. Trump. I said, well, take the cameras out, let me see. And he didn't actually even hit her. He just sort of ran interference. She was grabbing me. She broke through the Secret Service. She wasn't supposed to be there, and the press conference was over. And then he just like walked through because she shouldn't have been doing that. She was grabbing my arm. Okay, when it's all said and done, and you know what she put in her police report? I believe, weapon. I believe she put teeth, fists, and feet. He didn't do anything. Now, it would have been very easy for me to do the politically correct thing. This guy Cruz said he should be fired immediately. That's a lack of loyalty. And just like I was loyal to him, and I was right, and now I'm getting credit for it, but I was right, I'll be loyal to the American people. We'll defend the American people.
Well, you showed your loyalty there. We want to get your take on some video because we haven't heard you respond to this. Heidi Cruz was out on the campaign trail yesterday. She was laying out the reasons why America should vote for Senator Ted Cruz and why her husband is great. And one of the things she said is quite interesting. Let's listen to this line.
Ted is an immigrant. He is Hispanic. We can unify this party.
He is an immigrant.
It's just
Did
so
she
bad.
get that from
well,
you?
Let me tell you, he's an immigrant.
He is an immigrant.
I assume she's saying he's an immigrant from Canada because, you know, he lived in Canada for the first 4 years of his life. Not an immigrant like I think she's referring to. She's, I assume, referring to one of your areas of the world, right, Geraldo?
You mean the Hispanic world?
Yes.
You and I need to have a dinner.
I think, I think that's it.
I am, which is part of the Hispanic world.
I think that's it. No, that's what I think she's referring to. I'm not sure. But he lived in Canada for the first 4 years. And he's not going to get it. He's got no chance. Nobody likes him. People don't even respect him anymore. And we call him Lion Ted for a reason. There's nobody that lies as much as him. But I have to tell you this, and I've never seen a man hated as much as him. Between Boehner and everything else, he's not going to get it. And if he does, the Democrats will bring a lawsuit within day one that he's not a citizen, not a naturalized citizen.
But she's saying that he has a sensitivity for people's problems that maybe you don't because you live in a lofty place.
She's saying he's an immigrant. She didn't say that.
Well,
Geraldo, do me a favor. Don't put your beautiful spin with your silver tongue. You know, he's got the silver tongue. He's been doing this stuff for a long time.
It's gold-plated, actually, at this point.
Yeah, gold-plated.
He's done pretty well.
Let's lift it up to gold.
So what did you watch last night, the White House Correspondents' Dinner?
I watched pieces, yeah.
Okay, why weren't you there? You've been there.
No, I didn't. You know, I don't like being there and being like the stupid person sitting there and you can't respond.
Yeah, you're the punch
Well,
line.
Here's what the president said about you, in case you missed it.
He has spent years meeting with leaders from around the world. Miss Sweden, Miss Argentina, Miss Azerbaijan. There's one area where Donald's experience could be invaluable, and that's closing Guantanamo. Because Trump knows a thing or two about running waterfront properties into the ground.
So you weren't there, but you were the center of conversation.
But now you can respond.
Okay, yeah, sure. So I borrowed $1 million years ago. I have a net worth now that is well beyond $10 billion. I do have a lot of waterfront properties, and they are doing great, whether it's in Los Angeles, where you know, whether it's along the Potomac River, whether it's on the Atlantic Ocean, and I have a lot of them, Turnberry in Scotland, And it's only joking. I mean, it's only.
But what about
joking.
the first charge? Have you met with Miss Azerbaijan?
No, I haven't. I haven't done that. I've been a very good boy. I promise. See the camera? I promise. I've been a very good boy. So in fact, I sold Miss Universe. You know, I bought Miss Universe. It was a sick puppy.
So how much
and
money
I sold
did you make on that deal?
A lot. I bought it for $2 million. It was very sick. It was owned by Madison Square Garden Corporation and Paramount Pictures. I made it really good over a 15-year period. I just sold it to IMG for a tremendous amount of money. It was a great deal. And I didn't want to sell it, but I thought owning Miss Universe when I'm running for president, not the best. That's a bad combination, right?
Hillary Clinton has been putting out these Hillary cards now. You guys have been going back and forth and playing the woman card. She, in an interview on Thursday night, I believe, was responding to the question about how she would deal with a tough general election with Donald Trump. And she says, look, I'm used to men sometimes going off the reservation. I know how to handle them. What do you respond?
I thought it was a terrible answer. She said, I'm used to dealing with, and what was the word? Go ahead. She used a certain word, certain type of men.
Off the reservation.
Men that are off the reservation. And I said to myself, that's a horrible expression. Now, if I would have used that expression maybe in the opposite form, it would have been a front-page story. She uses it, she gets away with it. That's a very demeaning remark to men, in my opinion. And I don't even know, was she referring to her husband? I don't know. I think she was referring to her husband.
I think she was, too.
So but you've made the point that she's running at the core of her campaign is the idea that she's a woman and you're not. Is that enough to run on?
I don't think so,
is that a campaign?
No. Because I'm going to give security, I'm going to give strength, I'm going to bring jobs back from China, I'm going to bring jobs back from Japan and Mexico, which is, by the way, the new China. It's absolutely killing us. We're going to have strong borders. I'm going to do things that she can't do. And I say this, I know her. She doesn't have the strength or the energy to be president.
She keeps playing the woman card, though, because she thinks that that's something that will work for her because your disapproval ratings with women not so high.
And yet, when I just won all of these races all over the place, I mean, the 6 and really 9, every exit poll showed that the women, I was #1 by far.
How about female
Republican women.
In Republican, yeah.
Oh, that could happen.
Yeah,
I would love
who?
Well, we know Geraldo.
If I had the right person, it would happen in a minute. I would love
Susanna Martinez?
No, not necessarily, and maybe. But you know what? I have 5 or 6 candidates. A lot of people want that job. They're calling me. I'll tell you the nicest. So many people calling me.
The Times says no one's calling that. They're hanging.
I know. Well, the Times is a failing newspaper that is they're such liars. I tell you what, they're almost as bad as Ted Cruz.
4 seconds to our satellite.
Almost as bad as Ted Cruz.